Hi everybody, it's Kirsty here again from My Home Truths for yet another Facebook Live. And today is Monday, so it's Challenge of the Week time. And today's Challenge of the Week is maintaining mental health. And so a lot of the things that I've done, all the challenges in the last few weeks have revolved sort of around this. So last week was around sort of working out how to look after yourself as a carer. But this goes sort of deeper, and it's looking at regardless of who you are or what you do, whether you're a carer, you're a parent, you're just someone, who doesn't have kids or whatever, looking after your mental health is really important. And it's more so important if you're someone like me who has a history of mental health issues. I'm not ashamed to do that. I think that I was depressed as a teenager. I was never clinically diagnosed, but I can look back now and go, yep, okay, I think there are some hallmarks there. And certainly depression has been something that's followed me throughout my adulthood, and anxiety as well. And I think the anxiety for me is actually probably harder to deal with and the harder aspect of my mental health, because it gets to the heart of my personality. And my personality is someone who likes to please people, who is always wanting to do the best by everybody else, who's a perfectionist, who just puts so much pressure on myself and so much expectation that I will just naturally be anxious all the time. And it doesn't matter that I don't work outside the home anymore. So since 2014 and my redundancy, I've sort of been riding at home and, reasonably relaxed. But even so, I think there's some elements. I've never been so anxious in my life in some respects. While I don't have to go to work and I don't have to do the commute and all these other things, I do struggle with the idea that, yep, I'm not contributing the same way I used to in the home. I look around my home and it's messy because when the kids are at school, I'm trying to do things, so obviously with the blog, with writing, with doing some paid work here and there as well to try and keep, get ends meet. And all I can see is stuff to do all the time. And that just feeds into my anxiety. And so maintaining my mental health is probably even more critical now, because the expectation most people have is, oh, you've got it so easy. You shouldn't have any hassles. You don't even work. But if you're someone like me who is naturally very anxious and needs to be in control of everything, this situation is probably even worse, because I don't have anyone I report to. So I'm only relying on myself. I'm not exactly that good. My time management skills are pretty poor, as it turns out. I'm struggling. I struggled with prioritising. I always have. I struggle with, having the focus to continue on with tasks. So I feel like I'm not doing enough here, and I feel like I'm failing my husband, who is working really hard all the time. I really want to support him, but the house is a mess, and I can't even sort of, draw in an income which will help us and take some of the pressure off him. So it doesn't matter what situation you're in, there will always be some element of worry and anxiety and stress that will follow you. And unfortunately, that is the way life is. And if your mind and your brain is like mine, where it's wired in a particular way, that you will always struggle. The answer is not then to just take away all of your responsibilities, as much as that would be awesome. And yes, I'd love to run away sometimes and not have any worries, but I'm sure then I would worry about not having any worries, and I'd worry about letting people down and stuff. So it's just an endless cycle. So maintaining your mental health, I know for me, is really trying to sit down and work out, what can I do for me? And there's a few levels. The first level is have a look at your day, and if you had have looked at the last main post that I did about making time for yourself as a carer, one of them is having a look and diarising your day and having a look at what you do and what's your usual, routine and things. How much of that is you? How much do you do just for you in a day? If you're anything like me, it will be nothing. I rarely do anything for myself. My problem is that obviously got the anxiety stuff, but also I like pleasing people. I'm a people pleaser. So I will say yes to helping take kids to, to places. I'll say yes to volunteering and stuff if I can. And so because it makes me feel good to be able to make other people feel good, to say, yes, I will say yes to your request. So the big thing for me in the first level is just looking at your day. What are you doing for you? Are you doing anything for you? Because if you're not, well, then that's something you've got to change. So for me, I play a little bit of Candy Crush each night, which sometimes is the most that I do for myself in the day. There's other days where I put in some exercise, so I will do exercise for myself. That is something for me. But essentially, if I look around and at myself, I'm usually trying to do something on the computer for, for writing or for the blog, or I'm running around doing something for the kids, or I'm trying to clean up or try to keep the house tidy in some way. So have a think about, what are you doing for you? Because that really is the secret to maintaining your mental health. You need to prioritise yourself in some way. And if you're anything like me, that is usually the sticking point. It's really difficult to do. So once you can do that and you can work out what you need to do for yourself and to give yourself some time, it's then letting go. And this is the next level of mental stuff, is sort of just trying to let go of the guilt. And that is really difficult to do because, again, like me, if you're hardwired, you will feel guilty. It's just, I don't know why, but that's just the way that I am. So having a think about what you can do and letting go in some mental way, letting go of the guilt, is a really important thing, because you don't want to add on extra feelings of inadequacy with everything else you have in your life. And that really does sow the seeds of and does damage your mental health over time if you don't have confidence in yourself and in what you're doing. And if you're continually double guessing and worrying and questioning what you're doing and feeling guilty over every choice you make. So it's really having a think about, okay, you've isolated some time for yourself, but now it's okay to have that time, and it's okay to let go of some of these feelings. A psychologist over the years has tried to get me to, and it's an acceptable and a very widely used technique, is acceptance theory. So basically, you accept and you acknowledge that these worries and these fears exist, but then you put them to the side and you concentrate on something else. And it takes a lot of practice, and it's really quite hard to do. And I've never really mastered it, I'll be honest. It's the same with mindfulness, and it's similar thing. Being in the moment, putting everything else to the side and concentrating on how you're feeling, what you're seeing, what you're experiencing in that moment. And mindfulness is very great. It is great, and it's very effective if you can do it. And I struggle. I really always have struggled with that. So if you do too, you're not alone. But those, these therapies and these techniques are in place because they do work for most, for people. And if you practice them, and that's the secret, you will get through. The next step is basically having a look, and if these things, if putting aside more time for you and putting aside and letting yourself go of some of the guilt and the feeling isn't still helping you with your mental health, you might need to look and get some more help and support. And that's what I've had to do a few times over the years. And that's not anything to feel, embarrassed about, to see as a weakness or anything. I think, in fact, it's a strength for you to recognise when you actually do need help if you can't help yourself. So if, as I said, finding time and identifying and actually looking and going, yep, I'm going to have time for me, prioritising yourself. And if then letting go of some of the feelings that go with that, if they're not working, talk to someone as a first step. Talk to someone. So talk to trusted family and friends and just see how you're feeling, and just try and get a ballpark and some sort of sounding board. Is this normal? Should I be feeling this way? Getting someone else's objective idea and objective opinion on things can be very, very useful in that case. But then if you're still not feeling right, if you still feel like you need more, I would definitely go to your GP and talk to them about it. And it could be that there's nothing that needs to be done at this stage. It could be just going and taking that step is enough. It could be just recognising that, I really need to work on myself now is what you need. And often a GP will help you with physical, obviously with mental and with physical things. It might be doing a bit more exercise, looking at your diet. They could put you in touch with groups within the community to help you and to enlarge, your chances to actually have some time to yourself. But, there may be a need for medication or a need for, to go and see a psychologist or someone else who might be able to help you further. But I think with your mental health, it's all about recognising and getting to know yourself and your own needs, and then recognising when you can't help yourself further. Do you know what I mean? When you've done enough and you're still feeling anxious and stressed and depressed. And if those things, and we're talking like over weeks and months, we're not talking something that, one day you feel down. depression, anxiety are long-standing things, and they go on, and it's like with me with my anxiety. I'll have periods where I feel I'm more in control. At the moment, I admit I'm feeling not in control. And that's why I've taken control. I've tried to take control of my diet and my exercise. They're my first two things that I'm trying to allow myself that time to be me and to have time for myself. That's important. These things hopefully will do the trick, but if they don't, I've got a history, I know. I'm due to go back to the doctor by the end of the year, and if I'm still not feeling, completely myself, I will talk to them about how I'm feeling, and maybe it is going back to the psychologist and talking out through these things. And it all, heads back to my opinion of myself in the end. It's me. Everyone else around me most of the time think I'm doing fine, but I know myself, it's my own feelings of I don't feel like I'm contributing, and I don't feel like I'm succeeding, and I don't have that sense of purpose, I suppose, in a way, which for some of my personality, I need. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, just about maintaining your mental health. And it's sort of making sure you're doing those little things and just listening to your body and to your mind. If you're anything like me, again, your stress will manifest physically. I've had a lot of issues over the years where I can go back and say that was stress that has physically come out a number of different ways. So listen to your body and really listen to yourself. And if you need time, take it. And if you need help, ask for it. Because unfortunately in this fast-paced world, we need to take the initiative and ask for this stuff and to be a bit proactive ourselves. People aren't always going to pick up on how we're feeling, and that's just because we are so busy. I know that I have the same issues. I don't recognise all the time what's going on around me, which is unfortunate, but it's life at the moment. So that's my idea. So that's my challenge of the week is reclaiming, maintaining my mental health. And it's an ongoing thing. It's always going to be something I'm going to have to work on. But how are you doing with yours? Please share if you feel comfortable enough, or message me if you don't, if you want to talk about things sort of a more personal level. But I think it is an important conversation we have to have, and it is something as carers, and especially as parents in particular, that we need to be aware of, that we need to be responsible and in tune with our own mental health. But hopefully I'll see you again on Friday for the wins of the week. I hope you have a great week. Thank you again for tuning in. As I said, if you feel like contributing, please drop a comment in the box below, and I'll talk to you later on. See yous.